So how about that Knox Transportation? Why don't we start with who you are and what you're running with there?
Kevin Young out of Waxahachie, Texas. Got a 81 cab over Freightliner, 00AV92 Detroit, 104-inch bunk, 15 speed, 370 rears.
10-4. Well, out of all the trucks that that a driver may want to drive, how'd you find yourself in that one there?
Started with my old man. My dad had nothing but cab overs and been in them since I was a baby and always had a love for them. I find them quiet, comfortable, and do anything a conventional would do. But like I said, I grew up in them, and this is all I know, man. This is all I know.
How long have you been running that one for?
This particular truck been running it for about 8 months now.
And what do you haul with it?
I haul steel on a 48102 flatbed, running 48 states.
Well, it sounds like you stay a little busy there. How long have you been trucking for?
I've been in the game 10 years now. Started working for my old man and did heavy haul, worked for a heavy haul company for about 3.5 years, and finally got my old truck back on the road and, like I say, leased on with my buddy over there at JD, and did that for about 1.5 years, and now I'm getting ready to start with Mr. Campbell over at Knox.
No, I happened upon your video a couple of months ago, and people out there in the old internet world, they might be familiar with your truck because of what they saw through Facebook and everything else. It seems like people have a particular love for that truck. Can you kind of explain why?
Well, I'll begin by saying to each his own, but I know it tends to the older crowd. A lot of guys like the old school stuff. In particular, cab over Freightliners, just don't see these out there anymore. Everybody's got a cab over P, K100, but not too many people run the old cab over Freightliners, and try to keep it original, old school looking, stock 5-inch pipes, 8-inch air cleaners in the middle, stock sun visor, original bumper with the swing plate. Like I said, just a lot of the older crowd that's been around back in the days. They like to see some of the old original looking stuff still back, back out on the highway. So that's what I can go off of.
10-4. It certainly does look iconic. You said that's a V8 in there?
And 10-4, I appreciate it. Yeah, it's an old 8V92 Detroit, 2-stroke, 500 horses.
Now, is the engine still stock?
Yeah, 10-4. I just got some beefy injectors in there. I got some 92 100mm injectors and smaller turbo, and she pretty much all stock from that point.
What are some of the things that you really enjoy? Some pros and cons about being in a cab over versus a conventional.
The biggest thing I can say is everybody has a conventional. I'll start with that. Everybody has one, so being in a cab over, kind of the odd man out here in the crowd. But there's not necessarily any pros and cons. I've always tell people either you can drive a truck or you can't. Cab over conventional, long or short. But like I said, I grew up in these cab overs. I just have a personal love for a cab over, man. So that's my deal with that.
If you had the chance to talk to a motorist and give them some tips on being safe when they drive by the big trucks, what would you share with them in order for them to have something to stick in their back pocket?
Stay far away from a truck as possible. Truckers out here, they get tired. You're weaving all over the road. Truck can blow a tire, the gator come off, hit somebody. Stay far away as possible. These guys get on the freeway, get on and go. That's the biggest thing I can say, man. Stay clear of a truck. Give him his room. He's making right turns. Stay back, let him make his turn. But that all falls under give a truck plenty of room.
On the outside, standing on the ground, it may look like there's a lot of room for the truck to do what it needs to do to maneuver. Once you get in that truck, that room that you think you have just disappears.
Oh yeah, well that's why I'm training my cousin right now, and I'll let him know. Get into a situation, get out and look, walk around it, and it may look like a lot of room, like you said. It may look like a lot of room once you're outside, but man, you get in it, it's a totally other story. But then sometimes you'll drive up on the situation, and you can get a better judgment at that point.
When you drive where you drive, what are some of the things that you see motorists not do when there's a police officer on the side of the road or an emergency vehicle? What have you seen?
They don't slow down. I've seen guys, somebody's broke down on the side of the road, and they they fly by 100 miles an hour. They don't give the guy much room, or even if there's a cop, or if he has his lights on, he's on the side of the road. A lot of times they'll slow down and rubberneck. That caused a lot of confusion also. But those are the two biggest ones. When they're broke down on the side of the road, they're not giving them room. They're blowing right by their door. They're not getting over. That's the safest thing you can do. You see somebody broke down in the shoulder, get over one lane to the left, get back over when it's safe.
The reason for bringing that up is, I saw a situation where, a state trooper lost her life because someone wasn't paying attention. So in the same accident, a state trooper and a tow truck operator died because of some person who didn't move over.
Yeah, it's just negligence. You have to pay attention. You must pay attention. In certain circumstances, if you can't get over, like you're supposed to do, slow down. Slow down and, not to an unsafe speed, but, ride the left line a little bit just to give them as much room as possible on the right. Pay attention, keep your eyes open. That's very important.
10-4. Comes to a truck like yours that's older, what are some maintenance tips that you can throw out to some guys that may want to start out by getting an older truck and then work their way into a newer truck?
Well, I believe an older truck is perfect for anyone just starting out. It'll give them a chance to get hands-on. These older trucks, you can, less computer stuff, less electronics, everything is mechanical, but it's pretty basic as far as, any other truck. Always keep them greased. You got lines that go bad on these older trucks. Check valves. Always check your brakes and stuff like that. But it's pretty much the same thing as, if you're driving any other truck, but just preventive maintenance. Like I said, keep brakes and adjustments. Always keep good tires, oil levels. And, it's pretty basic at that point.
Now, with that truck, you said you've had it for about 8 months. Some trucks are a gem of a truck. Nothing really goes wrong with them, per se. Then you got other trucks that are a little more problematic and have some, have their own issues. Have you seen anything with that truck in itself that you have to keep your eye on?
No, nothing in particular. This thing's been pretty solid. You had this truck sat for 22 years before I bought it. So when I did get it, I had to, change a lot of lines, hoses, brakes, wheel seals, fuel lines, things of that nature, tires. But everything's been pretty solid. You have normal, so you have to change fuel filters every so often, and I had to change the air compressor on it. But just small things, but nothing life-threatening, nothing that's going to put me in a whole lot of money.
10-4. Well, you mentioned it sat for 22 years before you got it. If you don't mind, where was it, and what was it like to find, this type of truck, and what, describe that, getting your hands on it.
Well, I found it on Craigslist. It was sitting in Phelan, California, just a little west of Palmdale, and like I said, found it on Craigslist, got it for $2,500. They were going to cut the truck up, and with me being a Freightliner freak, a friend of mine turned me on to it, and I went out there and saw it, and the guy was going to cut it up, and I said, man, this thing is, is in too good a shape. So I got it, brought it home, and my father had one like this similar. It was a 79, and he sold it back in 07. And this truck is almost the truck, with the exception of a few things. But I wanted to build that truck over again. So there, was another sentimental attachment to this truck. I can have my father's old truck all over again. So, but that was the biggest deal for me. And then with me being a Freightliner lover, that worked out also.
Wow, that's one heck of a find. $2,500, huh? Gosh. And most guys would, that would be pocket money to some guys, in terms of buying a truck.
Oh, exactly. Well, like I said, I bought it from the original owner. He passed away. I actually got it from his wife. And, they were going to cut the truck sat forever. All the windows busted out. People living in the truck, and like I said, I just had to bring it back to life. She's far from perfect, but she's slowly getting there. But yeah, they were going to cut it up, and they said the motor was good. So actually, I paid for the motor according to them. That's what they wanted for the motor. And I was going to, buy it for another truck that I have, another old cab over Freightliner. And like I said, when I saw this one, I said, man, this thing is too good to just take the motor out of.
So if a guy wanted to change from, let's say, a van to flatbed, open deck trailer, over the years you may have amassed some tips when it comes to moving different types of things. So think about some of the general things that you move on a flatbed, and what are some of the tips that you've learned?
Biggest thing that worries a lot of guys when they get into flatbed is, I'm scared, to secure the load and might fall off the trailer. The biggest thing is, the more security, the better. Of course, DOT wants it, but the more security, the better. And recommend that you be in pretty decent shape. Up and down from the trailer, throwing chains, rolling up straps, throwing tarps. It's all part of the job, and it'll definitely keep you in shape. But yeah, that's what I recommend. Just more securement, the better.
10-4. You said you moved steel beams. Is that what it was?
10-4 beams, pipe, coils, flat plate, and some other general freight. But for the most part, that's rebar, things of that nature.
10-4. I saw a picture the other day on Facebook. It's like one of those "what's wrong with this picture" kind of pictures. And somebody was moving some steel, and they had it strapped down. There are 3 tiers, and they had it strapped versus chains. In your experience, what would be your mindset of using chains over straps for something?
Depends on what it is. For instance, if you're tying down a load of beams with sharp edges or a load of plate with sharp edges, I'd rather use chains on that. You can get that, you can get that tighter, and it won't cut through your straps. That's the problem. Guys use straps, and I just can't imagine straps, holding beams and, plate of that nature. Even though if you put the edge protectors on there, you just don't seem like you'll get the hold of a chain. But versus hauling pipe, for instance, if you're hauling pipe, with it being rounded, I recommend using straps on that. Pipe gets real slippery, and sometimes you put a chain on that, and chain get kinked somewhere where you can't see it, and all the bouncing stuff going down the road, and kinks come out, chains loosen up. Whereas a strap, once you get that sucker locked in, she isn't going anywhere.
Every guy has a little bit of information, or they don't do everything the same, but by not doing it the same, that helps some other guys pick up on some things. And
yeah, 10-4, like another example, rebar, depending on what number you're hauling, that stuff has a lot of bounce and flex, and man, those chains just start working their way loose, the rebar starts settling in. But teachers on, you'll get drivers that want to do things their way, and I want to put 25 straps on this. Some guys, I want to put 3 straps. Everybody has their deal, but it's all about what's right at the end of the day.
I see you got a gentleman sitting next to you there. I heard you say that he's your cousin, so why don't you go ahead and introduce him?
That's my cousin Marcus Johnson from Center, Texas. Showing him the trade. He's a college graduate, and he saw my father and I in this trucking business forever, so he's always had it in his blood. So now I'm getting him out here and teaching him the ropes, teaching him the right way, and hope to make a top-notch truck driver out of him one day. Kid's got a heart of gold. He has a go-get-him attitude, and those are the kind of people you want to train. You get a lot of guys out here, they just want to drive, and it's just a 9 to 5. They just want to pay their bills, and then you get the guys out here that has a love for the love for the industry, and those are the kind of guys that you want in the industry. Those are the safe drivers, and the kind of guys who's going to keep the equipment clean, and that's how I want to train them. I could have just told them, go work for a couple of the big companies, and in a week and a half you have your license, and now he's running into everything. But I'm not going to say I'm the best truck driver in the world, but my dad taught me right, and I feel I can do the same thing for my cousin, try to make a pretty good truck driver out of him.
Instead of me saying it, Marcus, I'm going to put you on the spot. Why don't you share what you've learned in the time that you've been riding along with Kevin?
Well, I learned that paying attention is the most important thing. So far as strapping your loads down, just doing it the correct way. And like he said, some people just have their own nick of tying down loads and not paying attention. So he's just teaching me the proper way, and not trying to cut no corners, and just driving all this information in my head and making sure that it's turning me into a good truck driver, and making sure I'm not hurting anybody on the road.
You said one of the magic words there, not cutting corners. Cutting those corners. That's a result of the accidents that we see, or the cause of the accidents that we see on these roads out here.
Driving a truck is not like driving a car. You're hauling real heavy equipment and stuff. So, doing it the right way would not just save your life, but save other lives as well.
10-4. Sliding back in here to this truck show, the Guilty by Association truck show. What are you guys enjoying about this show so far?
It's just a family environment. Everybody's friendly. A lot of trucks I've never seen before. I'm from Los Angeles, California, and I go to Trucking for Kids down there all the time. And to get out here and see a new, just new trucks and meet new people, networking, and I love it. Love every minute of it.
This year is larger than last year, and more than likely next year is going to be larger than this year. So it just keeps on going there.
Yeah, I figure the more people we get out here, a lot of people who don't know anything about the trucking industry, they have a lot of bad things to say about truckers. But as long as we can continue to get out here and get together like a family, I think we'll be all right.
Kevin, thanks for taking your truck out of the show and coming out on the highway to make this video, allow people to hear the truck, see the truck, and learn a little bit about it. I really enjoyed it.
Appreciate you giving me the opportunity to share a little bit of knowledge to help out other guys, and other guys younger than me, to if I can help them out, I'll continue to do that.
10-4. We appreciate you for that, man. All right, well, enjoy the rest of the show, and we'll see you.
All right, sir. You take it easy.